Alright YouTube, welcome back to another trading video. Now today I want to talk about my experience with prop firms this year, because this was the year that I really started to pass challenges and I really started to see some consistent payouts from these challenges. And I wanted to share my experience on how I was able to do this and how I'm going to pursue this going into next year in terms of funding. So the whole idea behind the way that I approach these funding challenges now is staggering the accounts, right? So very often people can just buy one big account and just trade that solely by itself. Now, the issue with this is if you buy the account and then you immediately hit a losing streak, that can really mess with your mental and your whole emotions, because everything's on the line with this one account. Whereas what I've liked to do recently is separate my allocation into slightly smaller accounts. So instead of buying a 200k account, I'll either split that into two 100ks or two 50ks and one 100k. And what this allows me to do is it allows me to stagger those accounts. So when we look at trading and when we think about an equity curve, right, it's not just linear, right? It doesn't move constantly in one direction. It has ebbs and flows. It moves up and down, as you can see on the screen here. And the goal for us is to try and catch a window where we're on a hot streak and the strategy is on a win streak. And if we can start a challenge during that phase, then that gives us the highest probability and the highest chance of passing that challenge. And so what staggering challenge start dates does is it gives us the highest probability and the highest chance of passing a challenge. So what you can see here is an equity curve, and you can see we have a bullish move, bearish move, bullish move, bearish move, bullish move. Now what I like to do, again, you can see on this bottom row we've got three challenges, right? So 1, 2, 3. That is not a good 3. There we go. So the way that I like to approach this, and you can do this a number of ways depending on your data and your strategy and style. But first off, actually, before I get too deeply into this, is you should not be taking funding challenges if you don't even have proof of concept, right? So if you haven't shown profitability in a backtest, if you haven't shown profitability in a live market, a funding challenge is not going to fix your issues. It's not going to solve your psychological issues. It's not going to solve the fact that you can't follow your rules. It's not the fact that you haven't got a strategy. It's not going to solve any of those issues. It's just going to exacerbate the problem. And, it's a very slippery slope. It can be compared to gambling if you don't have an edge and you're just taking these challenges, because you have no structure to it, right? You're just trading them off a whim, and then you get emotional, you blow up, and then you just repeat the same process, right? And you're never going to get anywhere with that, right? So first and foremost, before you take a challenge, have proof of concept, right? Know within yourself that, okay, I can actually produce consistent returns and I can reach consistent profitability. That way you're going to be able to approach a challenge far better and with a much better chance of passing. So the way that I like to do it, and again, like I've said, you can structure this however you like and start however you like, again, depending on your trade frequency, your average risk to reward, your average drawdown, all that jargon. But the thing that I would say is, and again, this depends on your financial situation, on how many challenges you're willing to buy. You can either do this, you can start a challenge once every week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, once every 2 months, again, depending on your trade frequency. But what you do is you buy, say in this case, you buy 3 challenges. You start the first challenge on, X date, whenever that is. You trade that challenge for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long you decide that time to be. Then, regardless of profit loss, whatever happens, you add on another challenge, right? So you join these two accounts. So you trade them exactly the same, both at the same time. And then again, you continue to trade them for 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, again, depending on what you decide to do. Again, regardless of the outcome, you're going to add in your third account. So now you're going to be trading 3 accounts at the same time. And at this point, what you're going to have is, as you can see here, you're either going to have an account in phase 2, or that will continue to be in phase 3 with some profit. You're going to have a second account, which again is either in some drawdown or it's either in some profit. And then you're going to have a fresh account as well. So you're going to have these different accounts at different stages, right? And now that you're trading them all at the same time, ones that are going to be in profit, they don't need much. They don't need much to pass the account now, right? And so you can get some over the line, and some are going to continue to be in the challenge phase, right? But that's fine. That's going to give you, the best probability and the best chance of catching, these bullish moves in your equity curve. Because ultimately that's what we're trying to time, right? We're trying to time the good stages in our strategy with starting a funding challenge, right? Because the worst thing that we can do, is start a funding challenge right at the top of our profit. Because very often that's what you see with people. They go on a good string of winning trades and then think, all right, let me take a funding challenge. And then what happens? They inevitably go straight into drawdown. Why? Because equity curves do not run in a linear fashion. They do not go in one direction. So that's why it's most optimal to stagger these accounts and to trade them at different start dates, and then you're going to give you the highest probability of passing these challenges. So that's what I've been doing, towards the end of this year to really accelerate my pass rate with these challenges. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing next year as well to further increase my funding. So I hope this video helped. Hope you gained some insight from it. Obviously, any questions, comment down below and be sure to answer them. But enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you all soon.